What BALCO illegal performance-enhancing drugs do you believe Barry Bonds took?
I believe that Barry Bonds took the clear. This much I'm sure of. Did not hit 73 home runs or 762 because he was taking the clear and the cream.
What do you think the likelihood is that Barry Bonds was taking illegal performance-enhancing drugs that were not supplied by BALCO?
Well, the only thing that I know, let's go back and answer your first question. Major League Baseball tested him during the survey year, and the first time they ran the test, it came back clean. Later, Nowitzki took the sample back to Don Catlin, and they tested it for THG, and it came back positive. That's what we know. So that means that he took it. Apparently, if it's in his urine, they've got a positive drug test. The question is, was it knowingly or unknowingly? All this stuff that's in the game of shadows is garbage, okay? Them saying, oh, he wore this size jersey, and then he wore this size shoe, and then, oh, his head got bigger, and all this stuff. When I was his age, when you see those pictures of him and he's real skinny, I weighed 145 pounds.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in fairness, the man also put on 20 pounds in an off-season, which, I mean, maybe it could be done with
He did, and that's exactly what he put on.
But that
he
does
weighed
raise
208.
eyebrows.
So yes, he put on 20 pounds. Now, let me say this. If you had never trained with weights before, and you jumped up your caloric intake and you knew the right timing with all the nutrition, and you already weighed, he's 6'2.5", he's a tall guy. Is it possible through proper nutrition and weight training to put on 20 pounds in a year? And the answer is yes.
So you're saying he had never trained with weights
I don't
before?
believe he may have lifted a weight, but believe me, Greg Anderson, the way he trains is very, very intense with heavy weights. And could you gain 20 pounds? And other people have seen this too. I don't know if Barry wears, a lot of clothes under his clothes, like thermal or something, but the day and this was in 2003 when he was at the biggest, and he weighed 228 or weighed 230. Now, I'm used to looking at regular guys. Well, I'm telling you, 6'2.5" at 228 is not a big guy. So I was actually surprised that he was as thin as he was. So let's put it in context. I know you're wanting to get my opinion here. Did he or didn't he? Obviously, it's highly suspicious that he could have been using performance-enhancing drugs. I just don't have any direct knowledge of that.
Why do you feel it was highly suspicious?
I talked about with Kelly White, I talked about with Shelly Ann Frazier, I talked about these other athletes for the same reasons. The increase in performance to go from 49 to 73, the numbers. Of course, when you see that he'd been playing for a long period of time and all of a sudden here comes this giant improvement in performance. Is that suspicious? Yes, it is.
Why do you feel compelled to, in some sense, defend him?
I feel responsible for everything that's happened to every athlete that was associated with BALCO and what happened to all their families and their careers. And if you notice, I've been very selective with the people that I've spoken out about. And those that have either themselves or their legal teams have called me all sorts of names, or they've said that I duped them, or I tricked them, or I deceived them, and there's been a number of them that I could name: Kelly White, Tim Montgomery, Marion Jones, Shane Mosley. I've spoken out to set the record straight. If I have knowledge and somebody has said something that's not right, and I feel that it's important to set the record straight, I will speak out. And I've told you, off the record, that people have come to me and said, listen, we want you to testify against this guy. If you really want to help USADA, then you'll come and testify. Well, that guy hasn't done anything to me. The whole reason he got involved in performance-enhancing drugs was because of me. So what? Now they want me to be the guy to come in and after he's already knocked out in the gutter, to stomp on his teeth? It's not going to happen.